That's what I'm doing right now. We are on. Welcome, everyone, to the anatomy of a true breakthrough. And these are the 5 ingredients to transform your life and business. I am Sean Smith, and with me on the line is Margie Aliprandi, and we're just going to get right down into breakthrough tonight because in this industry, there's a lot that we learn about how to do the skill sets, how to sell and how to recruit, and all those things are important. And your business is only going to go as far as you allow it to go internally. So, we're going to talk a lot about what it takes to have a true breakthrough, not only in your personal life, but also in your business life as well. Is there anything you want to add, Margie, before we get rolling here?
No, just this is a very exciting topic and one that Sean and I both feel very strongly about. We've experienced many breakthroughs. There have been many times in our lives that we've each felt a little bit stuck. We know what it feels like to break through and then experience the success that seemed to elude you when you were in that sort of stuck place. And so we recognize the road because we've walked it, and so we're excited to share these thoughts with you. As always, we felt so much inspiration as we were preparing these ideas, and we're excited to share them with you tonight.
Excellent. So, first of all, congratulations on attending this webinar. I know there's all kinds of other things you could be doing. You're all busy people, and we really want to honor your time and acknowledge you for showing up tonight. You are the cream of the crop, and we appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. And so, just so that you have an idea of what you're going to experience while you're here in just these few minutes that we're going to spend together this evening, you're going to learn how to create a true long lasting breakthrough in both your personal life and your direct sales or your network marketing business. Progress of any kind requires sort of a continuous series of breakthroughs. Uh, you throw a big goal out in front of you, and there's a gap between where you are and where the goal is. And so, either you have clarity or you feel a little bit nebulous about it. And as you start to move toward it, you're either in clarity or you feel sort of stuck. You might need a breakthrough if that's where you are. And then you get a good run, you get up to a certain skill set in a relationship. This happens in every single area of our lives, in relationships, in our relationship with ourselves, when it comes to money, business, with our families, with our children. Happens in every area of our lives. We get a little bit of traction, we get to a place where you know we feel like that was sort of the accomplishment of the last round, and then you're in that place where there's more, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is, but you feel urges from inside that there's a distance to go, and then you need a breakthrough. And so really life is just kind of a series of aha moments and breakthroughs. And what we want to talk about this evening is how does that look when you're ready for a breakthrough? How do you know? How do you create a breakthrough? And how do you create a breakthrough that can really last? So it's not a temporary state of I feel charged up, but something that's truly transformational at a deep and sort of cellular level. So that's what tonight's about. And let me just tell you a little bit about how that's going to work. So we're going to be together now for about 60 to 75 minutes, and then we're going to have time for questions and answers. And you can either type in questions as you think about them, or you can write them down. And we want to encourage you, because if you'll just kind of stick with us to the end, we're gonna let you know how you can access this presentation. And so we want to encourage you to take notes on inspiration. Don't take notes on information. If you find yourself trying to write down words that we say, you're going to miss the very next things that we're saying. And so rather than doing that, listen be present with the information, and when something hits you, write down your own inspiration, because you're going to be able to access this material, right? And so you want to be sure that you listen through to the end, because we're going to tell you how you can get your hands on this so that you can listen again and again if you want to, or you feel like you missed something, or you want to share it with somebody. So it's my honor to now just introduce my partner here, Sean Smith. I think the world of this man. You know, we have Jack Canfield to thank for introducing us. And in all of my life, I have never met anyone who is better at helping people understand the mindset to create true breakthroughs. He is in every way. He is what he teaches. He walks his talk, and being able to work with him is just truly an inspiration to me. And I just think you guys are, he's the best I know at helping people bust through their limiting beliefs. And he understands it because he's lived it, and that's the best place to teach from. So I'm going to have Sean now just tell you a little bit about it himself. So, you know, if you're kind of in my tribe and you don't know who the heck Sean Smith is, Sean, would you just tell us a little bit about your story, your background, so people can get a sense of who you are?
Yeah, and thank you for that. Those amazingly kind words coming from you. That means a tremendous amount. So for any of you that don't know about me, we'll just talk a little bit about ourselves. As Margie said, some of you might not know you know one of us, but not the other. First and foremost, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I also am a speaker and a coach, but these people in the picture there that you can see are who I live for. I've got an incredible wife, Sybil. McKenna is my daughter. Exley is my son. And there we are. We're just having a lot of fun. And my story of personal development really started when I was 13 years old. I was nearly killed as I was riding my bicycle to school. And I realized that, we only get one shot in life. And I made a promise to myself once I realized, or once I started seeing the world through mortal lenses, and that life can end and we're not promised our next breath. I made a promise to myself that if I only get one shot, and I don't know when my last breath is going to be, that I was going to do everything I possibly could to make it a life of greatness, right? To not settle for mediocrity, to never look back with regret. And even though I made that promise to myself for the next 18 to 20 years, I still struggled. I still was beating my head up against the wall. I still wasn't creating the results that I wanted to in all areas of my life. And I couldn't figure out why until 2005. I had a massive breakthrough in a seminar. And most of my breakthroughs actually came at live seminars, just something super powerful about being in a live event, being in that kind of environment. And I really came face to face with what was actually holding me back, which was an internal conflict between my beliefs. And we'll get into that a little bit more later on. But I just had this giant breakthrough in my life, and it started to transfer out into all areas of my life. Right. I started a speaking business and we did really well. And I started to lose a little bit of weight and my relationships got better. And everybody just saw me as a happier person. And I wanted to just teach people what I was learning. And so that's when I decided I wanted to be a coach, and I started my training company. And ever since early 2006, I've been speaking and training specifically in the network marketing and direct sales field, helping people get rid of these challenges, helping people get rid of the conflict that I found in myself, get rid of their limiting beliefs, get rid of their sabotaging habits. And I've just been studying with ferocity, right, ferociousness, this idea of helping people stop holding themselves back, because we have the most amazing capability in our human brain, but it's amazing how even though we want something so deeply, we are still our own worst enemy. We are still our biggest obstacle. So that's what I've been doing in my life over the last decade. And as Margie said, I was introduced to this amazing human being just a few short years ago through Jack Canfield. And the more I've gotten to learn who Margie really is, I mean, we made an instant connection right away. But the more that I've seen her train, the more that I've seen her with her family, with her team members, the more I really got a sense of how special she is as a person. Now, Margie is an icon in this industry. Some of the things that she's done are truly amazing. The top 1% easily in this entire industry of direct sales and network marketing in terms of team and money earned, etc. But there are plenty of people that have made a lot of money in this industry. I've not met a single person who still is so connected to their humanity as Margie is. So we are now, the best of friends and partners. And if anybody doesn't know about you, Margie, just take a few moments and tell them a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. Kind words. So my life has been hugely blessed by this amazing profession of ours, and it started about 26 years ago when I was a single mom. At the time, I've got 4 kids now, but at the time I had 3 little children. They were 5, 4, and 2 years of age. I was a school teacher by training, and kind of at a crossroads in my life because I found myself single. I didn't want to go back to teaching school. I'd been staying home with them for a little while, and I really did not want to miss their growing up years. Um, and but didn't know how I could create a consistent income unless it was through school teaching. So I tentatively signed a contract to do that. But Destiny had a different plan. A few weeks before school started, I happened upon a fledgling network marketing company. For the first time ever, I felt like I truly understood the business model. For some reason, prior to that, I really had resistance to it. But when I fell in love with this particular product, I recognized that I could talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime about this product. I felt it had such value. I felt everyone in America was going to own it, maybe in the whole world. And so I realized for the first time that the gift of this profession is that it compensates you for doing what you do naturally, and that is when you believe in something, you feel compelled to share it. And so I canceled the teaching contract. I jumped in with both feet. I had definitely what people would say, 3 pretty significant challenges. 1, I had no money. 2, I had no experience. And 3, I had 3 little kids that needed my time and my attention. I've heard people a myriad of times use the excuse of, you know what, I can't, I got little kids. But my kids, rather than my being a reason why not, my children were my reason why. I had a burning desire to give them a better life. I didn't feel like on a school teacher's salary I was going to be able to do that. I didn't want to miss their growing up years. I was earnestly seeking for an alternative, and thank heavens that I was sent one. So I've had a fantastic career. I early on made a whatever it takes decision. I think that is, I'm so grateful that I did that, because I think it saved a lot of time and energy. When you're sitting on the fence with your decision about your business, you're, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're always having to weigh and reassess. Is it right? Should I do it? Should I not? One day you're really high, the next day you're really low. And having made that whatever it takes decision, it did create some interesting challenges because I didn't have any money. If I was invited by team members of mine in California while I was living in Utah with my kids to do a meeting, I would jump in my car and I would drive. What they didn't realize is that I could not afford to stay in hotels. And so I was sleeping in the parking lot of well-lit hotel buildings. And then in the morning I was going to the gas station, plugging in my lovely electric curlers and curling my hair, putting on some makeup, throwing on a dress, and heading off to these meetings and saying, come on guys, join me, we're going to become millionaires. And sometimes I would have driven almost freaking across the country, and maybe there would only be 7 people there. So as I share this next piece with you, don't want it to sound like it was some mystical, magical, amazing, easy thing. Like, I really paid a price. Like, I got in there and I kept showing up even when I doubted myself, even when I was tired. And within a year I was making more money in a single month than I could have made in an entire year teaching school. I made my first $1 million by the time I was 35. My team now, 250,000 people in 29 countries. And really, I've been able to tick that one off my list, like mission accomplished. I was able to give my kids an extraordinary life, and I was able to be there with them in defining moments of their lives. And you know, the thing that matters the most to me now, yes, it was great to create a passive income that has given us freedom and the ability to live life on our own terms. But the greatest thing of all is I see my grown children now, and you can see them in the picture there, you know, Sean, Nicole, Todd, and Ashley. I love them with all of my heart. And I see the people that they are today. And I remember that scared young mom who was afraid, you know, with the time and the commitment I was putting in, like, oh, geez, I hope I'm not ruining my children, because I jumped in this business to give them a better life. And ironically, here in the beginning, like I'm away from them more than I would be if I had a 9 to 5 minimum wage job, and I'm not making any more than I would at minimum wage. And you know, I'd look back at those times and remember them like they were yesterday. And I look at my children today and the lifestyle we've had, and who they are, more than anything, who they are. And I am convinced that, at least to some small measure, who they have become is because I was an entrepreneurial mom, because I had a dream, because I kept going for it and I kept showing up. And so what they've learned in the process is that their dreams matter too. And I just have such a love for our profession. I feel like I've experienced virtually every possible thing that you can, from the inside out and the outside in. And my why now is to share everything I've learned with as many people as I can who have a dream in their heart and love this profession, a vehicle in their hands with a product they feel passionately about, or a service that they love, and help you bust through your fears and help you claim your highest, best aspirations. And so if I can help shortcut anyone's success, help them take a shortcut, that is my goal and my why now.
I love hearing you talk about your kids and the journey early on. You know, people just need to know it's important to stick in there. And what most of us have waiting, if we stay committed, is so far beyond our wildest dreams. And if we really understood what was there at the end of that road, it would cause us to play such a bigger game. It would cause us to want to get there that much faster. But we spend too much time plugged into the challenges, right? And so as we get into tonight's content, we invite you to suspend all of your disbelief. And there are three main areas that hold people back. Even when they're given information that could change their life, it's their disbelief. It's their negative head talk, the negative stories about themselves, about their current reality. You know, I can't do this because of my current situation, or the limitations of your past experience. Just because you've tried something in the past and haven't created what you want doesn't mean that you can't make a similar whatever it takes decision tonight and never look back and never create anything in your future like you've created in your past. So please don't hold yourself back with your own limitations. And so that's why we invite you, as we dig in now with what it actually takes to create a breakthrough, to suspend all of that disbelief. And if you hear some of that chatter show up, oh, I can't do this because of this, or I tried that before and it never works, just let that go and just be here present in this place of possibility so we can help you expand your reality.
Awesome, Sean. Awesome. So let's dive in now. Ingredient number one, like what you must have. The first thing that you must have in order to create a breakthrough is that you must be ready. In other words, there's a level of dissatisfaction, there's an irritation. You feel restless, like you know that where you are is not what you were born for. There feels like it's like you feel an urge to change something, and kind of an inner conflict. As you look at where you are, there's just this restlessness. You have to feel a level of hunger for something more, just that like a no more. I've had it. This is enough. So there has to be a level of readiness. And you know, people can live with a level of dissatisfaction for a little while, but this, you know, when you're really ready, Like you just know it. Like it's time.
Yeah, this you mentioned the word enough. I've found that when people get to that point where enough is enough, you can move mountains in your life. And the reason we really wanted to start with this is because most people are feeling the irritation in their life. They're feeling the dissatisfaction. They're feeling the negative judgments. They're feeling some of that anger that goes with it, some of that frustration. Yet most people don't realize that that's a perfect place to make the kind of decision that you need to make to change your life. So if you're not satisfied, if you do beat yourself up for not having created more, if you've got some of that negativity going on in your head talk, we don't want you to live there. And we want to teach you how to shift some of the stories that don't serve you. But let's be real, let's be honest. You're a human being, and that negativity is actually coming from a place of ambition. It's coming from a place that's saying, what I've created up till now is not what I have inside of me. It's not what I was put on this earth to create. I deserve more. My children deserve more. My team members deserve more. My family, my legacy, my purpose. There's more inside of me. And so I want you to understand that that conflict is fuel if you use it. Now, we don't want you to sit in it too long, but we want it to ignite you. So, what I found is that most people run from that instead of using it in a positive sense. And Margie and I could tell story after story after story. We won't do it because we don't have the time on this webinar of moments that we've been in that place. I mean, I was just there a week and a half ago. And Margie's been there time and time and time again. There's so many people that we know that have been there. So I don't want you to run away from those moments. I want you to use them as powerful fuel for you to make a decision, because most of you are ready. But if you don't touch that irritation, it's not going to ignite the spark that you have inside of you.
Beautiful. And then the third part of this being ready, you must be ready, is that there's an inflection point. It's amazing how, as human beings, we can live with a low level of dissatisfaction and irritation, and we can stay there for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you analyze what it takes to have a breakthrough, and believe me, we've all worked with thousands of people and helped them break through to a new state, new growth, new triumphs, new success, new horizons. Sean and I have both worked with people that always there's an inflection point. There's a moment when it finally is just, that's it. You draw a line in the sand. The dissatisfaction, it's just like there is a no more kind of an experience. And I think of a time years ago that preceded one of the pinnacle achievements of my entire network marketing career. And it came after like 3 years of feeling inadequate and feeling like, I'd achieved a level of success in the business, and I was making a really significant passive income, and I had a little duplication going on in the team, but not enough. And I kind of came to this time like there's no more joy in this business for me until I have people duplicating me and being able to enjoy the fruits of passive income in the way that I am. And gosh, I was doing everything that I knew how to do. It's not like I wasn't in action. I was in really consistent action, but I was not breaking through. And for like 3 years in a row, I would sit there in convention. I'd see other people's diamonds cross the stage, and I would just, I want to see my diamonds cross the stage. I want to sit and applaud, and and all that time doing everything that I knew how to do. And it was just, there came a time, and honestly, it was when I was in a Born Rich seminar. It's interesting because I know one of our points is that, live events are really a place where breakthroughs can happen. That's one of our points here. But I was sitting in a Born Rich seminar, a Bob Proctor Born Rich seminar, and an idea came in that it was time and that I was going to set a goal that was so much bigger than any goal I had even imagined, and I immediately became uncomfortable with it. Well, as the story unfolds, um, it was an enormous, amazing breakthrough that occurred, and not just for me, but for dozens of other people. And it was at that inflection point. It was just, not just this irritation and this restlessness and feeling called to more, but kind of living with it. It was a stake in the sand, a line in the sand, a stake in the ground of today things change, period. Which kind of leads us to ingredient number two of a true breakthrough, Sean.
Sorry, I was just muted for a second. Yeah, I love that. So once you're in that place where enough is enough and you make a decision, the second ingredient is that you have to do something different. And I know that might seem simple, it might seem super elementary, but if you don't do something different, then you don't give your brain anything to hope for. Without some distinction in the recipe, without you sending yourself the message that not only will this year change, but this is how it's going to change, then there's a piece of our brain, literally the way our brain works physiologically, there's a piece of our brain that just won't believe it because nothing new has shifted. And if you can't prove to yourself that there's a way to get something more out of what you've been doing, then it's going to be very difficult for your unconscious mind to get excited again about a goal, especially a goal you've been trying to get for a long time, without a new way to go after that goal. And that doesn't mean you absolutely have to know that this new way is going to work. You just have to give yourself something different, right? In this industry, we hear all the time insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. What we find is that a lot of people make that decision that we just talked about, but then don't do anything different to back it up. And if you make a decision, this year is going to be different, and then don't do anything different, and then at the end of the year, you go to your seminar and it's just the same scenario, the same irritation as it was a year ago, you've basically told your brain, don't listen the next time I tell you this year is going to be different. So you've got to really back it up with actually committing with your action, not just intellectually, even if it's emotional, and not just saying, okay, this year's going to be different. You actually have to do something different in the recipe.
Absolutely. And the next one here is declare it out loud and publicly. I think back to that decision that I made, that that inflection point where I decided that things were going to be different. And I set this really big, crazy, audacious goal. Well, the first thing that I did was I wrote somebody during the seminar. I wrote someone a little note and said, "Here, I'm going for this. What do you think?" Like I immediately verbalized it, and then 2 days later, on a team call, I said, anyone that may be wanting to do a big rank advancement this between now and convention, stay on the line. And I announced it out loud. I spoke it out loud. The importance of this is the physical declaration of saying it out loud is so valuable, because sometimes that's the first time that your idea actually makes its entrance into the physical world. As long as it bobbles around in your head, you weighing, can I really do it? Do I have what it takes? Oh no, it's too lofty. As long as it's bobbling around in there, it's very, very nebulous. And not something you can wrap your arms around. Saying it out loud gives it something that's concrete. It's now tangible. And guess what else? It also creates a level of accountability, because you've now not only put your stake in the sand or drawn a line in the sand, but you've told everybody else. And so it creates accountability. And I think it's really an important piece to declare it out loud and publicly.
I love it. And then you've got to really get it in motion with some commitment. When I started my speaking career, the first thing I did, because I hired a coach and she told me to do this first, is after I said, I want to create this big event, she says, "Great, go book a venue." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to say." She goes, "Go book a venue." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know how big the room needs to be. And so I'm a little uncomfortable." She says, "Go book a venue." And so the first thing I did is I went to a hotel and I picked a date and I booked a venue. And as soon as I did that, it became real. Now it wasn't in my mind and it wasn't just this thing that I was going to do when I'm ready. I had already put it in motion. Now, that kind of commitment is going to vary with what your particular goal is. If it does have to do with some kind of big event or big celebration or something, you can go ahead and book it. If it has to do with celebrating some kind of achievement, maybe you make a flyer and you invite people over to the party, but you've got to do something to get this commitment into the world, more than just speaking it, more than just feeling it. Let's actually put your butt on the line, so to speak, because that just shifts everything in your mind. Now it's no longer, do I think I can do this? It's, I've already committed to it. How am I going to get it done? So this is a big piece that most people don't do.
And the next piece here is that you dive in completely. That's how you really know that you're on the brink of a breakthrough, that you've said it out loud, you're moving into action, and it's that feeling that it's that whatever it takes decision. You've made a whatever it takes decision. You're gonna burn the bridges, you're not leaving any escape hatch, no back door that you can run out of. You're not gonna hedge your bet. You're not going to hold it inside and not tell anybody so that you can start for a little while. And if it comes together easily, you'll do it. If it doesn't, you're not going to do it. You literally dive in full out. And that is the direct result of that sort of inflection point that we were talking about, where that rather than just being irritated a little bit, you truly hit that no more place, and then you follow it with action. You follow it with a mindset that is completely ready to dive in. No holds barred.
Love it. All right. Ingredient number 3. So where are we? You have made a decision because you've gotten irritated enough and realized that it's no longer okay staying where I am. You've gotten into motion. You've started something different. You've created some commitment. And now it's about really finding that support, finding those capable mentors, whether it's a single person, a group of people that can help guide you along the way. There's a support structure that's really important. You're not going to be able to do it alone, especially in this industry. There's so much in this industry that creates comparison thinking and creates doubts and creates questions. And you are an individual, and there's so many different variables that if you try to do it on your own, it's not going to work. But you don't just want to collect a group of people who also haven't climbed that mountain that you're now climbing. You've got to find somebody who's climbed that mountain so that they can help you as individually as possible. They can help you answer some of the doubts in your mind, help you answer some of the skill set questions. So you've got to have somebody that, is on the other end of the rope that you are holding on to that can help pull you up.
So think about it this way, that the mind that created the blockage or the plateau or the obstruction, that you could be experiencing, you need a different mind, you need a new mind, you need new ideas, new perspectives to be able to create new results. And so almost implicitly that means that while all breakthroughs happen from within, always the breakthrough is something that you create. Typically, you'll need to access resources that are outside of yourself because you need a new way of thinking. You're in a particular mindset, a particular mode. And so the reason that you felt stuck or obstructed is because you need new information, and you need to access resources outside of you that will trigger something inside of you, because all breakthroughs are internal, all of them, everyone. No one can cause you to have a breakthrough. You're going to be the one that has the breakthrough. But it's so helpful to have capable mentors, the right support structure, like Sean said. And then I really think community is helpful, and we all have community around us. That's kind of an implicit part of what we do in our business. That we've got a community with us on our teams and around us. Sometimes. Sometimes they're not necessarily the best ones to guide us, like Sean said. If they, not everyone is blessed to have leadership and mentorship that they really, really resonate with. Some are, and you can just say thanks all day long and hallelujah all day long. But sometimes, if you're kind of neck in neck with someone and they're in your leadership, but they're just barely a little bit ahead of you, they actually, not only do they not maybe know how to help you get to the next lap, their view is tainted by their own self-interest in such a way that they can't really be a pure channel. And so to be able to have a community to celebrate with and actually hold you accountable that doesn't have a financial remuneration benefit, but that can just truly celebrate, that can transparently see the greatness in you and vocalize that back. Sean and I are so over the moon in love with our community. And probably one of the greatest joys in my life, next to seeing how my kids interact with each other and how much they love each other, is watching how this community it interacts with each other and the way that they shore each other up and how they celebrate successes, how they're there through the hard times. It's just extraordinary, and there's something very special about the community that that is with us, that they're from across company lines, and that has created such camaraderie and trust. Maybe that sounds counterintuitive, but there's something very, very special about having a community where there is celebration, support, accountability around you. So, yeah, community helps.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, this is kind of a sticky subject in this industry, but the reality is it doesn't help to have this lack mentality, like my company is better than yours. And unfortunately, there's some of that energy in our industry, and it doesn't create expansiveness. It doesn't create celebration within the industry itself. And so if you've got some negative projection onto other companies and you're kind of just sort of guarding your opportunity as the only one that's the best one out there, that's not the right energy to have to attract the kind of people that you want. And the other piece here that's along these same lines is to create a real true breakthrough, you've got to do it outside of the normal training environment. And what we're talking about here is the normal environment that your company has set up. Now, again, I say this is a sticky situation, and in no way are we saying anything negative whatsoever to any of the training that's set up, because you've got to plug into your company training. We will always tell you plug into your company training.
Yeah.
And what we found is that the true breakthroughs often, we can't say 100% of the time, but what we've found is the true breakthroughs often come from exposure outside of what you're normally subjected to. And that really has some part to do with the actual training that's set up, but it probably has more to do with the way our brains work. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about doing something different. If you get caught up in only looking at the same training over and over again, or only listening to the same people over and over again, you start to get somewhat of a myopic view of success. And the success is only viewed through the perspective of your particular company, your details, those words. And when you can expand and then celebrate this entire industry, celebrate the fact that there are plenty of other companies that are awesome, plenty of other companies that are even in your exact same field, when you can get to the point where if you're in a cosmetics business, you can celebrate other cosmetics companies. If you're in a health and nutrition company, you can celebrate other health and nutrition companies. When you can get to that point and just come from this place of expansiveness, your magnet is going to be so much more attractive than when you come from this place of we're the only ones that are doing this right and everybody else is doing it wrong because, and you start throwing blows, you start talking bad or talking negative, or just your energy is all about guarding, right? Your energy is coming from a place of lack. That's not exciting to anybody. And so that's what we have found. That's what I've found as a coach over the last 10 years is the true personal breakthroughs that really permeate every area of your life quite often. And in my experience, I'd say at least 90% of the time happen outside of your normal training environments. That doesn't mean that, it can't happen with other people that are in your company, but you've got to shake it up a little bit because everything that you've been following right now up until this moment is good enough for everything you have right now up until this moment. And I would say that for the number of books you've read, for the education that you have, for the relationships that you have, and for the specific training that you have in your business. So if you want to go beyond where you currently are, you need to follow a recipe that is beyond what you've currently followed. And you'd be amazed at how small shifts can make tremendous outcome changes if you just open yourself up a little bit. And I'm going to stay on this point for another moment because this isn't an open discussion for a lot of people in this industry. But there's a lot of companies that either because of the company culture or just certain people inside the company are really afraid of exposing their people, themselves or their people, to resources outside of their company. And that is a very poor decision. There are people that just need a different voice. There are people who might be on your team that have been around for 15 years and they need it explained just a slightly different way than the same way that they've heard about it. I know when companies bring in different speakers and the speaker can say the exact same thing word for word. Like this happens to me a lot. I've done a lot of my training in the Mary Kay world. I'll come in and I'll say the exact same thing that the Mary Kay leader has been saying for years, but some people will just hear it differently simply because it's a different voice. And again, it's in no way are we saying anything negative about the individual people. It's more about who's in the chairs and the way the brain works, that we've got to give people sometimes a fresh voice. And we want you to be expansive. We want you to love your opportunity so much that you're not afraid. Like I'm not afraid of my wife going out and, spending an evening where there's a bunch of men in the room. I'm not afraid of that because I have confidence in my relationship with her. And if I didn't, then I would be jealous and I would have to guard her all the time. And she has the same feeling for me. And I think a lot of times that's what it turns into in this industry, unfortunately. And that's not going to bring the best out of you. So we wanted to stay on this topic a little bit because it's a true game changing shift when you open yourself up and expand and really stay in that power that you have instead of this place of lack.
I love that, Sean. Thank you so much. The idea of being expansive and staying in a place of inclusion rather than exclusion. It's we are in the same profession here, all of us, and I love the idea of banding together, being accessible and supportive of everyone in the whole profession. Just that stuff really resonates with me. So thank you for sharing that. The next one here is guide you, capable mentors that can guide you through the signposts. And what we mean by that is somebody that has walked a particular road. They know how to help you with the pitfalls. They can help you know what comes next. They can remind you that what you're experiencing right now, you're right on track, rather than you maybe assuming, oh my gosh, it's taking too long, or I'm doing something wrong, or I'm different. It's not, it can't. Everyone can have it, but I can't. when you have mentors that have been there, done that, they're capable of showing you and pointing out the signposts. And so, yeah, mentorship is important in any walk of life. Finding someone that speaks in a way that your ears hear is very, very valuable. And and Sean and I are just extremely grateful that we've got a community of people around us that that show up and it's to help and support each other so much and like to hear the way the way we share. Like we feel like we've got a really like-minded community. It's an important piece.
Awesome. Let's go on to
So
ingredient number
ingredient number
4
4.
now of a true breakthrough. And this is really what, we could spend the next 6 hours talking about. It's the personal development piece. And what's important is that you really spend enough time on this. It has to be intentional. A lot of people treat their personal development as a byproduct of their normal training, and hopefully it happens, but it might not. And that's not the way to really create intentional breakthroughs. You've got to say, my personal development is a huge priority. And a lot of times, I would say most of the time, your personal development is a bigger priority than your business development. Because if your business grows and you don't grow, at a certain point, everything is going to come crashing down. If you grow and your business doesn't grow, then that's progress. And sometimes, I would say most of the time that I've seen it, you have to grow personally before your business can grow. And I will absolutely stand behind this. Before your business can grow and be able to be sustained. So some people might just do a bunch of activities and create pockets of growth, but if you haven't personally developed along with it, your business will fall down. One of my favorite ideas is that sometimes your business can take you where your personal growth can't keep you. And you want it the opposite way. You want your personal growth to be so solid and to be such a priority that your business comes along with it, because then any of the success that you have, you'll be ready for. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that the way to get to that next level is just to work on their skill set. Let me just memorize a script. Let me just learn how to overcome objections. And most of the time, what I see as a coach is that when people do grow that way, it's actually worse. And there are times when I tell some of my clients, I hope you don't make this goal right now because you're not ready for it. Now, I'm not interested in helping you cross a line. I'm interested in 5 years from now, you having a solid business that's going to last and truly foundationally change your life. And sometimes you're not ready yet. That's more important than you just crossing these lines of business growth.
You know, the thing that I love most about our profession, oh, there are so many things. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way. But one of the things I love so much about our profession is that you really do have to grow yourself to grow your business. And I hold personal growth and advancement and personal enlightenment and consciousness and all of those wonderful things. I hold that as such a high value that I really believe the most important thing that happens in our business as we're on our way to creating wealth and helping others create wealth, and we're getting healthier or looking more beautiful, depending on what the product line is, the most important thing that happens is who you become and who you help others become, how you can stand in support of others becoming their best selves. And so much about our business is more about being than doing. Who are you being in any single moment? You might be the absolute best, slickest, most articulate at closing and presenting. But if you're seriously, if your come from is a place of greed and non-caring about people, you won't land well when you communicate. And the flip side is true as well. If you are not the strongest presenter, if you are sloppy at closing or weak at closing, your skill set is not 100%, but you speak from your heart and you care. If you're being a person who loves and cares about people, it's going to land. And so, so many aspects of our business become easier when we recognize, who do I want to be when I sit down with this prospect, when I get on the phone, who do I want to be to them, more than, okay, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, how I'm going to respond if they say this. All of that mind stuff is great, but it's counterproductive much of the time. What really counts is, who are you being in any given moment. And so this and how to be is all wrapped up in this personal development piece. It's just so important, the inner work part.
Yeah, I love that distinction, the being versus doing. So this bullet right here, this is what I've been fascinated by and diving into really over the last decade. And it's the ability to control your behavioral drivers. So what I mean by that is, we all have things that drive our behavior, and most of us don't have control over it. If we did have control over it, then we wouldn't have challenges making phone calls. We would be able to talk to the people that we want to talk to. Most people in this industry are afraid of talking to people that they don't know, or they're afraid of talking to people that they do know. They're afraid of making phone calls. They're afraid of the recruiting. They're afraid of certain parts of this business that are really the only way for you to achieve some of the goals that you have. So if you have a goal to make substantial money, if you have a goal to build a big team, you can't be afraid of the very activities that are the only way for you to get it. And yet those activities are the things that most people are afraid of the most. Yet you know what you're supposed to do. So therein lies the problem. If you know what you're supposed to do but can't make yourself do it, you can't win until and unless you get to the point where you can control not your behaviors. Notice the difference here, because you can motivate yourself sometimes to just make phone calls. But I don't want you to just be able to control your behaviors. I want you to be able to control what controls your behaviors. I want you to be able to control your drivers. I want you to understand what your values are and how they relate to your representation of making phone calls. I want you to understand what beliefs you have, positive and negative, and how they are dictating all of the results in your life, and how they are playing a big fact, or a big factor in your business. I want you to understand your own internal individual definitions of pain and pleasure, and how they are driving every single decision that you make. You've got to understand how everything is working, because if you don't understand how something's working, you can't control it. And my experience is, the people that can just motivate themselves to do activities certainly can create short-term success, but they can't create long-term success. They can't create sustainable success because they don't understand how they work. And what's really important in this industry specifically, and in success in general, is that you are an individual person. I don't care what caused Margie to succeed if it doesn't work for you. Now, there are certainly fundamental concepts that are across the board important. But what I find people get stuck on are the details. People get stuck on the affirmations or the goal posters or how to set goals properly. And you have to understand how you work. Because if you don't understand how you work, it's not good enough to understand how most people in your company or in this industry have succeeded. You have to be able to take those concepts that are fundamental, but then add the special sauce, which is your personal details, in order to make them all work. Because there's so many people that are frustrated in this industry because they can't get themselves to follow the game plan of somebody else. And I will say that that's because you don't understand your own individual personal drivers. This to me is the key. This third bullet on ingredient number 4 is the biggest key from my vantage point as a coach to changing your life literally forever. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to make all your fears go away and you're going to make all the limiting beliefs go away, because our brains have been working on these things for decades. But you've got to get to the point where you can control them, and that right there will change everything in your life and therefore give you the ability to change everything in your business.
And I think one of the sweetest things that happens when you're giving attention to personal development and you keep that as a significant part of your life, and you access books and events, and you have consistent personal growth, what occurs is that you start to get that you're enough, that you start to embrace your own greatness. And I've seen this happen, Sean, at our live event, that when you experience something at such a deep level that it becomes a knowing that you can never unknow. Like it's almost like it becomes a remembering of something that's always there but you've forgotten. And the coolest part I think about all of that is that when you really embrace your own greatness and you surrender and accept your own enoughness, then what happens is that not only do you have increased self-esteem and purpose and clarity, but you also have more compassion, because now you can truly give outward something you finally freaking given yourself, that you're enough. You're enough. You claimed your greatness. And as you do that, and it happens through personal development, as you do that, then you have a well within you to draw on to be able to extend that to other people. And you become truly generous of heart, and truly you begin to just epitomize love. Everywhere you go, you are love. And I just think that's the coolest thing that happens as a result of personal development.
Yeah, that's so true. Just about all of our sabotage really comes down to that piece that you just talked about, is your own enoughness, your own self-esteem and confidence. Because the reason we're afraid to make phone calls is that if somebody says no, we feel like we didn't do it right or we're not enough. The reason we're afraid to talk to people is because if they quote unquote reject us, then it makes us feel bad. It's when your self-esteem and confidence is on the table for somebody else to snatch, that's when this business is scary. When your self-esteem and your confidence is no longer available for somebody else to take, regardless of what they do, then this business and really life in general, relationships, everything is easy. But again, it's got to be intentional. So this last bullet is that live events, in my experience, are the only place to do this work. You're not going to get the foundational shifts through just a book. You're not going to get it through a simple conversation. There's something that has to be physiological in order for you to make some of these foundational shifts. Every breakthrough that I've ever gone through personally has come through a live event. The biggest breakthroughs I've ever seen have come through live events. And so you can have ahas. We're not saying that you can't make any progress, but you're on this line because you want a true breakthrough. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be here. You wouldn't be listening to these words. You would have left a long time ago. You're here because you want to do something that's going to last. You want something that will fundamentally shift. You want to stop efforting so much. You don't want to continue fighting against yourself. You want to make it all congruent. You want it to be aligned. You want your business to be a natural extension of who you are. You want it to be more effortless feeling. That's why you're here. And what we're here to tell you is that can only happen by doing this kind of work. And that's not going to be a byproduct of your business training. This has to be intentional that you work on yourself. And then you can take that progress and apply it to your business. Please don't let your personal development hopefully happen as you're trying to build your business skill set. The exact opposite is the best way to go about this. So you've got to put yourself in the environments where you can actually make these changes. And you can obviously tell how much Margie and I believe wholeheartedly in doing this kind of work if you're serious about a true breakthrough. If you just want short-term success that may or may not last, awesome. There's a lot of ways to get that. If you want a true breakthrough that will permeate every core that you have, every ounce of your being, and transfer into every area of your life, this is what you've got to be willing to do.
And coincidentally, we are having a live event. We believe that we're capable mentors. We believe we can set this, we can create this kind of an atmosphere. But before we get there, let's talk about ingredient number 5 of a true breakthrough. So the 5th thing that you need to have to create a true and lasting breakthrough is you need to chart a course to be able to go the distance. And so having a clear, personalized game plan for success. The elements of feeling that level of irritation, that point of inflection, followed by doing something different, finding capable mentors who have been there, done that, continuing the journey with personal development. At some point, you need to actually create a plan with a clear and personalized game plan that will get you to success, so that you chunk that thing down in 90-day action plans, and you set a goal and you work backwards from it, and then you adjust and reassess and retarget your goals if needs be. But you need a personalized game plan for success.
And this is where too many people focus only. You know, when you do this work, ingredient number 5, without the first 4, then that's where you're going to have some of the short-term success. But we also want to include this because this is an important ingredient. It's just that it has to come after. You know, this is the icing on the cake. This isn't the cake. And you've also got to have individual course corrections along the way. Nobody has ever said, this is how I'm going to get there, and then put their blinders on, and never had to go a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right as you have to make sort of detours along the way. But most people aren't open to that because we tend to want to just know this is what I have to do. And if I keep doing this, I'm not going to have to think about it. And like, we want this guaranteed success if we just follow this action plan, and it just never happens. I mean, we're humans dealing with other humans. So there's got to be course corrections all along the way.
And when you have the other 4 elements in place, it helps. When you have people that can help you know the signposts, when you have support of a community, all of those things really help. Because if in a vacuum, when we're not getting the results that we want, we might just throw up our hands and say, to hell with it, I quit, I don't know what I'm, but if you've got those other elements in place, it's very helpful. And, I just am such a fan of massive action. It is, in my estimation, like if there is a silver bullet, it would be massive action, because I believe it solves just about everything. If you are feeling a lack of confidence in your ability to do any part of the skill set that's required to build your business, jump in and start doing it. Guess what? You're going to get better. If you don't believe enough, jump in and start doing it. Your belief will grow. If you don't have a big enough check, jump in. Your check will grow. I mean, just if every single aspect, you'll get so good. Your results will come in more quickly. Just make sure that you've got a good support team around you, so that you're not just blindly going and repeating actions that might not be yielding results. But when you take massive action with the guidance and support of the right mentors, it's the best thing you can do. So I'm such a believer in massive action, as you know.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, there's no way to get anything without taking action. Nobody's ever thought their way to the next rank in their company. Nobody has ever prepared their way to the next rank. They've only acted their way. And the key thing here is that it's not an either or. It's not, do I take action or do I learn and do I work on myself? It's both, right? You've got to keep going in both of those paths. So the next bullet here is be willing to quit anything and everything that's in your way or that's holding you back. And this is counterintuitive to a lot of people because we're taught that quitters never win and winners never quit. But a lot of people end up losing because they're not willing to quit. They end up losing the bigger game because they're not willing to quit the smaller pieces of that game. And so part of what you've got to be willing to quit is the head talk that's holding you back. You've got to be willing to quit certain relationships that don't serve you anymore. You've got to be willing to quit certain things, maybe even relationships inside your company if it's a negative situation where you plug into this one particular person and you just feel bad about yourself. Sometimes you've got to quit maybe going to their training, or you've got to protect yourself. You got to protect your energy from the things that are holding you back. Sometimes, I would say most of the time, what we have to quit are our own habits, our sabotaging habits, our sabotaging behaviors. Now, in order to be able to quit those things, you've got to do that personal work and understand the drivers that I was alluding to earlier. But you have to have this ability, and it's really not an ability. We all have the ability, but you have to have the willingness to say, my dreams are so big that I'm willing to quit anything that's not going to serve me achieving those dreams. And that's a concept that we can do an entire call on called high intention, low attachment. We won't dive into that, but that's really what we're talking about. Attach yourself to your big game and be detached to the details of the small game. Be willing and ready to quit anything that's going to free you up to allow you to win at the bigger level. Don't let your ego stay so involved that you don't take the detours along the way that are waiting for you, and ultimately you don't get where you want to go.
And finally, on this one, persist, 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 persist. I have observed this principle really be the defining action of people that are successful versus those who aren't. And I've seen way too many times when people quit just short of really seeing the big harvest, the big reaping season come. So you do have to persist and stay in the game. Sean?
Oh boy, it's so hard for us to only talk in an hour long webinar about this work. Number one, because we're so fascinated by it, and number two, there are many facets to it. So we don't want you to think that you're just going to be able to do this work on your own. Um, I mean, once upon a time, I would have sort of tread lightly and told people, hey, if you want to think about making changes in your life, then maybe you can go to an event. I went to an event, and now with everything that I see, I'm just so bold in my conviction that if you're not willing to do this kind of work, your success is limited. You will handicap your ability to grow. And if you're not willing to get yourself out of your environments and willing to go to personal development events that are specifically focused on doing this work, then you're handicapping yourself. That doesn't mean you can't make progress, but it means you can't make the amount of progress that you could otherwise if you were willing to do this work. And again, I told you earlier that my life almost ended when I was 13 years old, and every single day I'm here, I think I only have one shot, and I'm one day closer to my last breath than I was yesterday, and that thought scares me. And so the way I think about life is, if you're here and if you have a dream, how dare you don't do everything you can to go after that dream? And if you have the capacity and a vehicle to help other people, how dare you don't do everything you can to get yourself out of your way and equip yourself with what you need internally to achieve that mission? So that's what Margie and I are all about. We've been talking about live events. We've been alluding to it. We briefly mentioned that we had a live event. We actually didn't go into any of the details from last year that was mind-blowingly awesome. And this year we've got another one coming up. It's in the middle of May. It's called Elite Leadership Live. And if you want more information, there's a long link there you can see on your screen. EliteLeadershipLive.safecheckout.com. And checkout is intentionally spelled without a second E, just so you know that we didn't misspell that, /2015. So if you want to register for this event, if you've got this calling that you know you've got to be there, if everything that we've been talking about has really been resonating with you, then listen to that voice inside. That's an intuitive voice internally that's saying, this is the work I want to do. And if your brain is coming up with excuses, or I can't do it, or maybe it just costs too much money, or blah, 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 uh, hear that voice, but then override that voice with the piece of your heart that's saying, this is what I need to do. Your head's job is to support the decisions of your heart. It's not the other way around. And unfortunately, most people live backwards that way. And that's why they stay controlled by their fears, by the, oh, I can't do this because. So we want to invite you to play a bigger game with us. And what we're going to do now, we've got more information that will tell you about the event, but we really want you to hear from a few people that experienced the event. We want you to hear it in their words, not just our words. So we're going to bring a couple people on the line here who experienced the event last year, and we just want you to hear their story. So let's start with Michelle. Let's try to get you on the line here, Michelle. Let's see. Okay, Michelle, I unmuted you. Go ahead and say something, see if we can hear you. All right, try again, Michelle.
Hello.
There you go. Yay.
We did it.
We did it. So if you wouldn't mind, Michelle, just spend 90 seconds, couple minutes, something, just sharing what you got out of the live event, some of the changes that you felt in your life and your business, just anything you want to share about the event. We'd appreciate it. Oh, wait, hold
Michelle,
on a second. I might have,
did you mute her again?
no, she's unmuted, but now, so go ahead and say something again, Michelle. Okay, she had two, she was showing up twice here, and I unmuted both of them, but now she's only showing up once. So Michelle, if anything shifted, actually, let me try something else. Let me make you a presenter and see if that shifts anything. Michelle, can you say anything? Say something now and see if we can hear you.
Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, so you're giving me 90 seconds.
Take your time, baby.
That's not a lot of time.
Take your time.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay, I'll tell you what stuck out to me is what Sean said when he talked about that your business can take you to where your personal development can't keep you. And that was super huge for me. That was my experience prior to being in this community and in this group and in this tribe. And I had been in a really just not good space in 2013. And I found Sean and just asked for support so that I could be a part of the last 90-day blitz. And it was a sacrifice of time and energy and money. I had to move a lot of things around to get out to the live event. And the person who went there last year and the person who left, they just weren't even the same person. And I became ferocious about my own personal development, my own personal growth. And I agree with Margie in that it is one of my top 3 personal values. I have continually made sacrifices financially, time-wise, energy-wise, with just this high level of ferocity. Is that even a word, ferocity? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Just
Yes.
I'm not sure. But just ferociously attacking personal development and my own limiting beliefs, and not going back to this live event wasn't even a question. And for me, I again had to make sacrifices, time-wise, financially, but I would do it over and over and over and over and over again. And you may not see the value, and if Sean is right, if you feel yourself being like, I don't really know if I have the money, if I should, if it's really going to be worth it, I can't stress to you enough how just the person, not even after I left the live event last year, but the person that I am right now today, about a year and 3 months after doing this work, the type of people that I'm attracting into my business, the energy that I feel, the improvement in my relationships personally, having nothing to do with my direct sales business, the money that I'm making, the tangible, but more important to me, the intangible results are, it's priceless. I would say that these people changed my life, but they taught me enough to know that they didn't do it, I did it. But I needed the support and the community to have space held for me to do so. So I guess I would say, if you are happy being unhappy, and you're happy being uncomfortable and unsettled in your life, if you're happy being unfulfilled, if you're happy just with where you are and you're settled and you're comfortable, this is not for you. Don't go. But if you are looking for a transformation, for change, for your life to totally be rocked and never be the same, not only show up, but commit to playing full out the whole entire time, because I know I will, and the two wonderful souls who are running this event will as well.
Love that. Michelle.
You're so awesome.
You inspire me every day.
We can't wait to see you again. Thank you so much. So let's see. How about Karen? Let me try to get Karen in here on the line. Okay, Karen, I just unmuted you. Can you say something?
Hello.
Yay!
Yay. Okay, well, keep it short. This is an incredibly unique opportunity. So if you have been participating in this particular program and getting on the phone calls or listening to the phone calls later, you already know how amazing Sean and Margie are. But as wonderful as these calls are, there's nothing to compare with a live event. They have incredibly unique talents and gifts. You heard what it did for Michelle. And there's this cocoon that's created where, again, and to quote Michelle, when you play full out, when you go committed, that you are going to just really be present to the entire process. And so there's this great cocoon that's created where you do have a transformation. I mean, if you're at a place where maybe you're stuck or you just can't get past a certain place, and as wonderful as all of our companies are, this kind of training is not in any of our companies, I would be willing to bet. And so this is that personal development piece for me. What I've learned from Sean and Margie has translated into every area of my life. So it's not just my business. It's certainly benefited my business, but it's translated into my relationships, my family, just everything. So, it all ties together. We don't really hold anything separately. Our lives all kind of blend together. So if you're not quite sure what this is all about and you're wondering if it's worth it, I promise you it's worth it. It's worth whatever it takes for you to get yourself there. I've said this before. I double dog dare you to look at me at the end of it, or call me at the end of it, or Facebook me at the end of it. Say, you know what? I just didn't get anything out of this. I don't know what this is all about, but it's worth it. It will change your business.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Karen.
You're awesome,
welcome.
Karen. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Let's bring Simon on. Simon, my friend, you are now unmuted.
Thank you very much.
Simon!
Simon!
Nice to have you with us. Thank you. I thought it was absolutely transformative. It was really powerful, and it shifted my being and gave me personal power that I'd been yearning for, searching for. I thought it was amazingly powerful and one of the richest weekends of my life. Thank you both.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome. So I just want to ask you a question. What are some of the shifts that you felt just internally or emotionally, or some of the things that you can feel made a foundational change?
Previous to that, I'd sort of felt of myself as a speedboat with no rudder, and so just zipping around and not really getting anywhere or achieving anything. And I feel that it harnessed the power that I had just been expending uselessly, and so to important things like exercise and slowing me down to relate with my wife and kids and friends, and reaching out, and I'm now meeting again with buddies that we used to meet with, and that fell off, and so I would say it's added a structure and a framework for my life, which I now consider really exciting. And I would say previous to that, I would have it just random.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
We're happy.
Actually, you're the beautiful one, Margie.
Yay for that.
Thank you so much, Simon. We so
Thank
appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And we want you to hear from one more person. Patty, I just unmuted you. Can say something so we can hear you.
Hi, Sean and Margie.
Hey, Patty.
Well, the reason I went is I decided I deserved to go. And so I think that all of you need to make the decision to say you deserve it. You deserve the break. Get out of your hometown, go to beautiful California, and meet Sean and Margie live. They're wonderful people, and you will love them. You will also get to know other people, like I know Michelle, Karen, and Simon, who just talked. And we're from all over the United States, and yet we have this network of friends all over in different countries, too. And that's so exciting, is that you expand your world. You expand who you know. And I think that's a key if you want to be a leader, is to say to yourself, I'm going to go. I'm going to expand where I'm at, and I'm going to expand who I know. And so those friendships are priceless. And then when you're there, you learn to be a friend with your own self, because you really do a lot of self-evaluation, and that's where the breakthroughs and the transformations come in. And for me, the transformations and the breakthroughs were so profound that I am forever changed, and I am forever grateful to Sean and Margie for what they did for me. I came home and lost 42 pounds.
Yay!
I recognize you that when you came back to the advanced leadership.
Yeah, you just decide that you're going to do something instead of spinning it around. And then I took my past and I reframed it into a teeny little thing, so I wasn't thinking about it all the time. Just those two things have changed me forever. I have a confidence now that I've never had before. I have this belief inside of me that I never had before I went to this live event. I have so much more confidence that I'm able to speak better. I'm able to express myself in a much more positive and truly joyful way. And I give all that credit to the live event.
Wow, Patty. Wow. It's so inspiring to have been able to observe now over a year the transformation that has happened in people's businesses. Like every one of these people could speak to, um, I know Michelle just has had huge business breakthroughs. It's so interesting to me that the thing that you value the most, even above, over and above the business growth, is that becoming who, the confidence that you have, the the way that you look, and you know, you guys all are just so freaking inspiring to us, and we draw on that example that you set and what we see. It just like it's our total joy. So thank you so much for sharing.
Just love. I mean, you mentioned the tribe and the community that we have. I mean, we're just in love with these people and the celebration and the success and the friendships and camaraderie and everything is just so powerful and completely transformational. So there are several people that are talking about or asking questions about the live event and some of the details. So we're certainly going to tell you more about that. Some of the
We're going to finish in 10 minutes, promise. So stick with us.
Yes, absolutely. So some of the intentions, as you can see on your screen, create amazing success, have the time and financial freedom, become a powerful, purposeful, and persuasive leader, create that foundation for consistent growth, constant growth. Never again miss the opportunity to have the business success for you to walk across the stage, watch your team members parade across the stage every single year. And these are the goals that most people have in their business, but it can really only happen with this true breakthrough shift so you can have the balance and the joy and the happiness, etc., as your business grows. So this event is in the middle of May. It's May 15th, 16th, 17th. There are a couple investment options. The investment for the full price ticket is only $297. There's a full money back guarantee. Karen kind of challenged everybody and said, if you go and you can tell me afterwards that it didn't shift your life, then she'd be amazed. But we'll actually give you your money back. So if this isn't everything that you thought it would be, if you didn't have some of the shifts that you thought you would, if you didn't think we delivered, if you don't like the color of the carpet in the room, whatever, let us take the risk so that we can help support you in deciding to say yes to yourself. Because that's really what it's about. We're inviting you to make a decision to say yes to yourself. Like Patty said, you deserve this. And this is the kind of work that's going to make long-lasting life change in every area of your existence. If the $297 is a little too much, there's a payment plan of only $87 times 4 monthly payments, 37 or 30 days apart. Sorry, Margie, were you going to say something there?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And the other thing is we're going to add some bonuses into this package. So one of the bonuses you're going to get is an extra ticket. Bring a team member, bring a spouse, bring a friend, bring somebody so that both of you can go through this change. It's really powerful to have somebody else go with you. If you have somebody that, like Michelle said, is ready to dive in and ready to play full out. Margie and I are almost finished with a 90-day Blitz audio program. Many of you are in it. Some of you knew about it and aren't participating, and some of you didn't know about it. Karen alluded to this program. It's a 12-week program where we really teach you a lot of the basics about how to develop your 90-day action plan, how to set goals, and then we get deeper into some of the more advanced concepts. We talk about self-esteem and confidence. We talk about leadership. We talk about coaching. We talk about some of the deeper concepts and we go as deep as we can on the phone. However, there are things that you can learn over the phone, but only really truly get in person at this live event. So this live event is really the experiential shift that we've been talking about. That doesn't mean you have to have gone through the 90-day Blitz program. The live event can stand on its own. And if you've gone through the 90-day program, great. It'll just continue that expansion, that learning for you. But we also want to gift you the 90-day Blitz program, which was a $297 investment, so that when you invest in the live event, you can start listening to the archives of the 90-day Blitz program as well, just to get you in motion, and it'll help you sort of prepare yourself. It'll help supplement some of the things that you'll learn at the live event, and after the live event, you can go back. So we really want you to have both of them. If you didn't jump into the 90-day Blitz program, you can get access to it right now by investing in the live event. You're also going to get a live one-on-one coaching session with one of our coaches, somebody that I've trained personally, to help you implement at an individual level everything that you learned, whether it's in the Blitz or whether it's at the live event. You'll get 2 months of access into Margie and I's Eagles Club program, which is group content every single month. It's just supplemental, shot in the arm kind of learning. But the real value here is what you're going to get at the live event. Margie, do you want to go through the 90-day Blitz content? You want me to keep running?
Let me just
Okay, go ahead.
We absolutely love this program. It will give you such a foundation for not only creating your own strategy and giving you all of the belief and the vision and all of those pieces that you need from the inside out, but also you can utilize this material with your teams. There's so much great material here, and so this just comes as an added benefit. You'll be able to listen to it at your leisure on a virtual platform, and it's yours to enjoy and utilize. You'll learn about the psychology of going fast and having fun, like really joyfully, and building your business with ease. You'll learn the step-by-step process of how to create your unique 90-day plan, how to track your activities properly and to stay consistently in motion, systems and tools to enroll people in your business, how to write an inspiring celebration statement, how to identify and eliminate limiting and negative beliefs. I mean, this is something that just stops people, and we give you the tools to break through this stuff, and understanding and controlling your biggest fears so that they don't stop you, so that they don't get in the way of you being, doing, and having all that you were born for, all that is your destiny.
Yeah, such powerful content. And we also get into the exact language for you to use. And Margie is just a master at invitation language with the right energy, how to create your own compelling story, how to answer the questions, what do you do in your business, which trips a lot of people up, how to change the way you talk to yourself, that limited head talk that we've been talking about, coaching skills to become more persuasive leader, the mindset required, really having that work-life balance. It's as close to an A to Z program as we can deliver in a 12-week period of time, and we really want you to experience the live event to make it an experiential learning as well. You want to talk about the fast action taker bonuses?
I do, because I think this is so extraordinarily generous of you to have offered this. So for the first 5 people who say yes to this tonight, they're going to get a private coaching call with Sean Smith. It's a $500 price point, but I think it's a $1,000 value, because just to have him in your back pocket for to be able to, his eyes, his perspective on your business in that one-on-one way, and people pay big bucks for that. So the first 5 people that respond tonight, he's generously offered to do a private coaching session for you. So just incredible. We want to encourage you to take action now, and we'll give you the details about registering for the event and all the details that go along with that. I think that we tell them the dates May 15th through 17th. are the dates of the event. So
Yeah, and some people are asking, where is the event? We didn't
it's
we
in
didn't we didn't talk
LA,
about that.
Southern California, where it's just absolutely beautiful. Of course, it's pretty a lot of places in May, but yeah, really beautiful. The beach is nearby. Just saying. And uh, if you're loving all of this, but you're looking at those dates and going, I can't do it on those dates, by affiliating with this program, you have access this year and next year,
Oh
which is
yeah, good catch. I
really
forgot that.
important. These dates don't work for you this year, so
So you have 2 full years to use the tickets, and we don't have the date for the next event, but it'll be at least sometime in the next
10 to
year,
12
I
months.
believe, or 10 to 12 months, etc. So hopefully, if you have that sense that this is somewhere where you just have to be, you'll take action. And if this isn't something that's really calling to you, then hopefully this webinar has served you. If you do have any questions about the details or anything, you can type in the questions. But really, what we want you to think about is, what is it going to take to change your life? See, most people think, what's going to happen if I take action? And unfortunately, that puts your brain in a position where it searches for reasons why you should not take action. And like Margie said earlier, massive action is really the only thing that's going to do to change your life. The only thing you can do to change your life. So if you think about, what are the negative costs of taking action, your brain is biologically, physiologically looking to shut you down. It's looking to keep you safe. And we can all stay stuck in that safety, in the comfortable misery of our comfort zone. And that's not how anybody has ever achieved anything positive or significant in their life. So I don't want you to think, what's the cost of taking action? That goes for this seminar. It goes for any other investment decision you have to make, but especially when it comes to your personal development. The significant question to ask yourself is, what's the cost of not taking action? What'll happen if I don't make these changes? Where will I be in 6 months from now if I don't learn how to give myself that deserve level, how to control those behavioral drivers? What would I have, and where would I be right now if I would have made this choice a year ago? Those are the significant questions that sometimes bring up a little negativity and frustration and irritation. But you know what? That's what's required, if you remember ingredient number one, for you to make the decision to change your life. Most successful people are afraid of staying where they are, much more so than they are afraid of what will happen if they take that next step in life. Most people who have achieved mediocrity in their life operate from the reverse. They are more afraid of what might happen if they take a chance than they are of staying where they are. So it's really in the mindset that you have and the questions that you ask yourself that will ultimately determine whether you take action on your dreams and where you end up.
And the truth is that um, the thing that enables us to look ourselves in the mirror each night is just knowing that we did our best, that we really went for it. And so Sean and I are both of the mindset that at the end of our life, it won't matter as much that we achieved the dream, but the question that we will be sitting with is, did I really go for it? Did I extend myself? Did I try? Did I do whatever I could to try to make it happen? It's just that idea that you showed up and did your best. We're just so convinced that that's 90% of the battle right there. Putting yourself in the position where you can get the right information, the right timing comes together, both from an internal and an external perspective.
I love it. I love it. So in order to get a recording of this, send an email to info@coachshaunsmith.com, and when the recording is available, we will send it back to you. Actually, it looks like I did not put that on my slide yet. Sorry about that. And our invitation is simply, if this is calling out to you, make the choice. You know, it's easy to get into LAX airport if you're not from around here, and those 3 days will make shifts inside of you that are really impossible to put into words unless you give yourself permission to go for it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. Somebody is asking, can you review the bonuses again? The bonuses that you get are an extra live ticket. So for the price of one, the $297, you get 2 tickets to bring somebody with you. You get access to our archives of the 90-day Blitz group coaching program that you
12
can,
course.
12-week, yeah, seriously powerful course that you can use as a resource. You get a private coaching call with one of our life coaches. If you're in one of the first 5, that call will be with me. And you also get 2 free months in the Eagles Club monthly coaching program. So those are the
And honey,
bonuses.
since it's such a funky link, do you want to put it in the chat?
Yeah, I did actually. So hopefully
Okay,
you guys can see it in the chat. I can see it, and it's a clickable link for me. I can click there and it'll take you right to the page. So if you open up your chat inside the control panel, you guys should be able to get that link. So yeah, that's a good idea, Margie.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Somebody's asking to put that bonus slide back up. So let me do that. There you go. The email, somebody's asking about the email. The email is info@coachshansmith.com. I will also send that to everyone in the chat. Let's see. Somebody says, when can you come to Canada?
Come to us. Come to
Come
us.
to Canada.
Come to us this time, and we'll come to you next time.
Right, there you go.
We've had every single time we've done a live event, we've had guests from Canada. If we could give you a mind meld of what can happen if you show up with an open heart, an open mind, and that number one ingredient, which is readiness, like you will put yourself in a place where such magical transformation can occur. It is just, it's such a profound experience for Sean and I to watch this occur and to see then the results that come in over the subsequent months. It's just an absolute joy. I can't even really articulate what it feels like to observe that happen and to just know how intentionally that space is created, not just by us, but by everyone who shows up in that space.
So true. So some people are saying the page isn't ready. I am going to work on that right now. If for whatever reason it's not working, just email me. Apologize. I'm going to get on that right now and see if I can see what the problem is. So sorry about that.
You can send them an active link, and know that you've got time to be able to the first 5 that come through, right? You'll mail everybody's. You'll send go so that the first 5 people.
Yeah, I think that's what they're concerned about. Is I want to have time, the 5 bonus. So here's what I'll do, because oh boy, because there's a technical challenge. I'm gonna get this email out to everyone, and if so, I'm gonna send it to you right in the chat here, and we're gonna get this up. And if you register just register tonight, and I'll extend that bonus. So, because it's hard to say, who was the first 5 if people weren't able to get there. So that's what I'll do.
Wow, Sean, can I sign up? I want.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to, honor the people really trying to make this work, and that for whatever reason the website is not working for you guys. So really apologize about that.
I think if they email you, you can send them a link. You'll get it fixed. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So email me directly, Sean@coachseansmith.com, and it'll work. Actually, you know what? I think I figured it out. I think this is really funky, but you can't do the www. That's really strange. So I just sent a new link in there, and I will, it works. I'm on it. Okay, yeah, somebody said it does work. So you just can't have a www for whatever reasons. That's really strange that it's doing that. All right, so some people are asking about the hotel. The hotel is the Renaissance. We got a great discounted room rate for you guys. You'll get all that information when you register. If there is information that you need before you make the decision, just email me, Sean, SEAN, at coachseansmith.com, and I'll do everything I can to either me or my team get you the information that you need to make a decision. And we hope you guys choose to invest in yourself, invest in your personal development, make it a priority, make it intentional, and don't let it just be something that may or may not happen along the way of your normal business training. You've got to make this a specific target, and then everything in your life can completely shift. So most of the other questions, Margie, are just like the technical stuff that we've already addressed, or people that I will respond back to. Is there anything you wanted to say before we close out tonight?
I just want to say, if something's stirring inside of you at all, take the leap, because you will not regret it. At our last live event, I got so caught up in the transformation that was occurring for me that sometimes I forgot, oh my gosh, I've got, it's my turn to go on stage. I've got it. You know, I would just say, listen to this, because the amount of material that we've put together that in that 90-day blitz that you can take access to at your own leisure is so valuable. It's just the best stuff that we've got. And that event, it will change you on every single level. You'll start experiencing business results that will be, I just remember hearing Michelle, you heard from her tonight. I remember her moving from a feeling of, what do I do to create more activity in my business, to after the event and kind of through a follow-up course, saying things like, man, I've got such massive action. I don't know how to stay on top of all of it. Like, help me manage all the business. It was just so cool to see the transformation. So if I just want to say that it's your time, and it's the perfect time, and we're here to support you. So take the leap. We'll see you in LA.
Can't wait to see you guys. It's going to be transformational. And if there's anything that I need to do to answer the link problems or any of those technical stuff, we'll handle it. But, I just want to highlight what Margie says. You're worth it. And it's only when we decide that we are worth it and our dreams are worth us diving in that things really truly happen in our lives. So we're inviting you to make that decision. We can't wait to be along that journey with you, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple months.
Love you guys. Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Good night. Good night, Margie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.